They told you it was chemistry, that intoxicating spark, the rush in your chest, the fire that makes your thoughts circle endlessly around a single face, a single voice, a single presence. They told you it was love, that being consumed by someone, pulled toward them with such intensity that you forget yourself, is a beautiful thing, a gift, proof that destiny is real. But what if that's not the truth? What if the deepest desires of your heart aren't really yours at all? Carl Jung, the father of analytical psychology, would look into your eyes and tell you something that might shatter every romantic belief you hold. It's not chemistry, it's not magic, it's your shadow. Yes, the most powerful attraction you've ever felt might not be about the other person. It's about the parts of you that you've buried, denied, or never truly met. Sexual attraction, Jung warned, is not just about compatibility or love. It's a psychological explosion, a mirror that doesn't show you the world outside, but the hidden world within. Think about the moments you've been drawn to someone so powerfully it felt almost irrational. Your mind screamed warnings. They're unavailable, they're dangerous, they're toxic. But your body and soul move forward anyway, as if pulled by invisible strings. That wasn't love, that was projection. Inside every man lives an anima, the unconscious feminine. Inside every woman lives an animus, the unconscious masculine. These are not fantasies or vague metaphors. They are living forces within the psyche, built from everything we've suppressed, everything we've longed for but never found, everything we once lost and still grieve. So, what happens when you meet someone who carries the face of your inner anima or animus? Your entire being lights up. It feels like fate, like destiny itself has placed this person in your path. But Jung's terrifying truth was this: you don't fall in love with them. You fall in love with the part of yourself you've never met. This is why the pull of desire is often stronger than logic. It's not just attraction, it's recognition. A recognition not of them, but of your own missing half. That's why the most magnetic love stories often end in chaos. Because they weren't stories of love at all. They were stories of unfinished business. A man who never felt seen by his mother might find himself obsessed with women who withhold affection, chasing their coldness as if it were oxygen. Each rejection digs deeper into his wound, but he calls it love. He thinks, this is the one. But in truth, he's not chasing her. He's chasing the ghost of his mother, trying to rewrite the story of his childhood, hoping that this time, maybe this time, he'll finally be enough. And women are not spared from this shadow. Many women, wounded by fathers who were distant, cold, or absent, find themselves magnetically drawn to men who play the same role. Men who are exciting, but emotionally unavailable. Men who give affection only in fragments, enough to keep the chase alive, but never enough to satisfy. She tells herself, if I just love harder, maybe this time he'll stay. But she's not chasing him. She's chasing her first heartbreak. Do you see it now? Attraction is not always a blessing. Sometimes it's a trap, a psychological loop that disguises old pain as new passion. And here lies the darkest truth. The person you desire most may not be the one who heals you. They may be the one who destroys you. Not because they are cruel or evil, but because your unconscious is dragging you back into the battlefield of your original wound, hoping you'll win this time. But the battlefield doesn't change, the story repeats, and so do the scars. Carl Jung's warning is not meant to kill romance. It is meant to awaken us, to make us ask, why do I crave what I crave? Who am I really drawn to? The person in front of me or the shadow within me? Because until you ask those questions, you are not choosing. You are being chosen by your trauma, by your wounds, by the parts of yourself you never healed. You will call it love. You will swear it is fate, but it is nothing more than your shadow pulling the strings. This is the unsettling doorway to our story. The part of attraction no one wants to talk about. We believe desire makes us free, but what if it makes us prisoners? Prisoners of unfinished stories, prisoners of shadows we refuse to face. And yet, in this darkness lies the possibility of transformation. Because the shadow is not just a curse, it is also the key. The question is, will you keep surrendering to it blindly, or will you finally face it and reclaim the power you gave away long ago? Imagine this. A man walks into a crowded room. He's successful, confident, admired. Yet the moment his eyes land on her, the woman who doesn't even notice him, his heart explodes. Suddenly, nothing else matters. He's not thinking about his career, his friends, his achievements. His entire being contracts into one desperate pull, her. But here's the strange part. He knows she's not right for him. He feels the danger. Maybe she's unavailable. Maybe she's already shown cruelty. Maybe every instinct says stay away. And still, he cannot stop. Why? Because she is not just a woman. She is a mirror. Carl Jung believed that when we meet someone who embodies our unconscious anima or animus, it's like striking a match inside gasoline. The unconscious bursts into flame. It feels divine, intoxicating, like destiny itself has woven two souls together. But what's really happening is much darker. You are not in love with them. You are in love with the part of yourself you have disowned. That's why the pull is so powerful, because deep inside, your psyche believes this person carries the missing piece of your soul. It whispers, there they are, they complete you. But the unconscious has a cruel trick. The people who ignite this fire are often the very people least capable of sustaining love. They are cold, unavailable, manipulative, or lost in their own shadows. And still, you chase them. Not because you want them, but because you want completion. Let's tell the story of one such man. He was respected, intelligent, even admired for his emotional awareness. But every time he fell in love, the pattern repeated. The women he adored, they always rejected him. One left him for someone else. Another vanished after nights of deep intimacy. Another mocked his vulnerability, twisting his openness into shame. Different women, same wound. He even told his friends, "She's not good for me. I know it." And yet, he went back. Every single time. Why? Because he wasn't chasing women. He was chasing his mother's ghost. He had grown up with a distant, emotionally cold mother, a woman who withheld affection, who made him feel invisible. His psyche was trying to rewrite the story, to win the love he was denied, to heal the wound. But here's the tragedy. You don't heal old wounds by repeating them. You just keep bleeding. Now, let's flip the mirror. A woman sits across from her friends, sighing, asking the question she's asked 100 times. Why do I only fall for men who hurt me? Every man she chases has the same pattern. Emotionally unavailable, dominant, exciting, but ultimately cruel. And when someone kind, gentle, truly loving shows up, she loses interest. He's too nice, she says. It's not that she doesn't want love. It's that her unconscious doesn't recognize it. Her nervous system only knows love as something you earn, something you chase, something withheld until you prove yourself. So, the moment a man pulls away, the fire ignites. There it is, the familiar pain. She calls it attraction, but it's really recognition of her wound. This is what Jung called a repetition compulsion. The psyche seeks to recreate the pain of the past, not because it enjoys suffering, but because it hopes to finish the story. It whispers, this time, maybe it will end differently. But it doesn't. It can't, because you're not rewriting the story, you're reliving it. Here's where it becomes even darker. Some women, knowingly or not, weaponize this truth. They discover that their sexuality can control men more than logic ever could. They learn that withholding affection while offering intoxicating seduction creates an addictive hook. The man doesn't fall in love with her. He falls in love with the fantasy she reflects, his unconscious desire, his missing half. And while he chases her, believing it's destiny, she grows more powerful. It's not love, it's domination. A game of shadows disguised as romance. Think about how terrifying this is. Two people meet, but they are not really meeting each other. They are meeting broken mirrors. He doesn't love her. He loves the reflection of what he thinks he needs. She doesn't love him. She loves the power that comes from being needed. It looks like intimacy, but it's performance. It feels like passion, but it's possession. It feels like destiny, but it's a trap. And here lies the nightmare Jung tried to warn us about. If you don't know your shadow, it will use attraction to destroy you. You'll think you're in control, but every move you make, every text you send, every night you stay awake longing for someone who doesn't love you, none of it was really your choice. It was your wound choosing for you. This is why people say, I always fall for the same type, or I knew they were bad for me, but I couldn't stop. The answer isn't found in logic. It's buried in the unconscious. Attraction is not always a sign of love. Sometimes it's a warning. And until you uncover the shadow behind your desire, you will keep playing the same story in 100 different bodies. You will call it fate. You will call it love. But it is nothing more than your shadow, reaching through the people you meet, pulling you back into the same unfinished nightmare. Think about the relationships you couldn't walk away from, the ones that left you wrecked, the ones your friends begged you to escape, yet you stayed. Why? Why do we cling to what destroys us? Because the most toxic relationships are not random. They are the ones that awaken our oldest pain. And pain, when it feels familiar, can feel like home. Carl Jung called this the shadow seduction. Your unconscious doesn't crave joy. It craves resolution. And so, it leads you back, again and again, to the battlefield of your childhood. You think you're chasing passion. But really, you're chasing a ghost. Picture this. A woman grows up with a father who never truly saw her. He was always distant, always cold. Love was conditional, given in fragments. She learned early that affection was something to earn. Now, as an adult, she falls for men who are emotionally detached. Men who pull away, who refuse to give her certainty. Each time they look at another woman or withdraw affection, her heart doesn't just ache. It burns. She calls it attraction. But her soul whispers, "This feels familiar. This is the pain I know. Maybe if I can fix it now, I'll finally be free." But here's the cruel twist. She's not fixing it. She's replaying it. Or take the man who grew up invisible, his worth tied to what he could provide. Maybe his mother praised him only when he achieved, but ignored him when he needed love. Now, as a man, he craves women who validate him, who make him feel like a god when they want him, but reduce him to nothing when they pull away. He thinks he's addicted to her, but he's addicted to the wound she represents. This isn't passion, it's possession. Do you see the trap? Your unconscious is not looking for love. It is looking for closure, but closure never comes this way. Because the woman who withholds love will not suddenly become nurturing. The man who dominates and withdraws will not magically turn tender. They are not your parents. They cannot rewrite your childhood. Yet your psyche keeps trying, because the wound is louder than your logic. This is why Jung's words are both terrifying and liberating. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life, and you will call it fate. We call it our type. We joke, "I always fall for the bad ones." But behind the humor is tragedy, because your type might just be your trauma in disguise. And some people know this and exploit it. There are women who discover, consciously or not, that if they withhold love but offer intense seduction, men will chase them endlessly. The man believes he's found passion, but really, he's trapped in a psychological loop. He doesn't love her. He loves the reflection she gives him of his missing half, and while he chases her, she feels powerful. Not because she loves him, but because control gives her the safety her childhood never did. It's not romance, it's revenge. Now imagine both sides caught in this shadow game. A man who craves validation, and a woman who craves power. A woman who chases unavailable love, and a man who fears being enough. They collide, and the chemistry is explosive. But what looks like destiny is nothing more than two wounds locking together. Intimacy becomes performance, passion becomes addiction, and love disappears. This is the darkest corner of attraction, when two people are not meeting as souls, but as scars. And the tragedy is this: the more intense it feels, the more dangerous it is. Because the stronger the pull, the deeper the wound being replayed. You think you've found your soulmate, but you've only found your shadow's perfect partner. This is why walking away feels impossible, because you are not walking away from them. You are walking away from the unfinished story inside you. And no one wants to leave their story half-written. But here's the question Jung wanted us to ask. What if attraction is not a sign of compatibility, but a signal? What if the fire in your chest isn't telling you, this is love? What if it's warning you, this is your wound, this is your shadow, this is the lesson you still refuse to learn? Because here's the painful truth. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you haven't healed. And until you face that, you will keep waking up in the same nightmare, beside different faces, telling yourself the same lies. This time, it will be different. This time they'll love me. This time I'll win. But you won't, because the story doesn't change until you do. So, here we are. We've uncovered the shadow. We've seen how desire can disguise itself as destiny. We've seen how our wounds pull us back into the same stories with different faces, over and over again. But now comes the real question. How do you break free? Because if attraction is a trap, if love can be an illusion, what hope do we have? Carl Jung's answer was both simple and terrifying. The path to love begins with individuation. Individuation means becoming whole. It means integrating the parts of yourself you've denied, the wounds you've buried, the shadows you've projected onto others. It means looking in the mirror and asking, why do I crave what I crave? What part of me is choosing this? Not blaming the other person, not blaming fate, but realizing it was never about them. It was always about me. And here's the hard truth. Real love will not feel like obsession. It will not make your chest burn with anxiety. It will not leave you awake at night, wondering if you are enough. That isn't love. That's trauma screaming. Real love feels different. At first, it might even feel boring. Imagine this. After years of storm, you meet someone who doesn't make your heart race in panic, who doesn't ignite that dizzying chaos. Instead, they make you feel calm, grounded, safe. Your mind whispers, this is too quiet, too still, because your nervous system is addicted to the storm. Peace feels unfamiliar, but stay long enough, and you realize peace is not boring, peace is foreign, until you make it your home. This is the transformation Jung wanted us to find, when you stop searching for the person who mirrors your wound, and start seeking the one who reflects your healing. When you stop chasing intensity and start choosing stability. When you stop needing someone to fix your past and start allowing someone to share your present. That is when sexual attraction becomes sacred. Not a prison, not a repetition, but a doorway to true connection. But to reach this place, you must do the hardest thing of all. You must fall in love with your own shadow. The parts of you that scream in the night. The little boy who felt invisible. The little girl who felt unworthy. The rage, the grief, the loneliness, the hunger. Instead of projecting them onto someone else, you sit with them. You listen. You hold them. And slowly, you heal. Because once you integrate your shadow, the spell breaks. You no longer chase people who withhold love. You no longer feel alive only in chaos. You no longer mistake addiction for intimacy. You begin to choose. And this is the ultimate freedom. For the first time, desire is no longer your master. It becomes your ally. Let's make this real. Imagine a man who has spent years falling for women who toy with his vulnerability. After years of heartbreak, he finally asks, why do I crave women who reject me? He remembers his mother's coldness, the years he felt invisible, and suddenly he sees it clearly. I wasn't chasing love, I was chasing her. The awareness breaks the spell. Next time he feels the pull toward an unavailable woman, he recognizes it. He doesn't call it fate, he calls it what it is, his shadow, asking to be healed. And instead of surrendering, he chooses differently. Or picture a woman who has always run after emotionally cold men. For the first time, she realizes, this isn't attraction. This is my father's ghost. When she meets someone kind, gentle, and steady, she doesn't run this time. She breathes through the discomfort. She gives peace a chance. And slowly, she learns that safety can be just as intoxicating as chaos. Once your body remembers what real love feels like. This is how cycles break. This is how karma transforms. Not through punishment, not through fear, but through awareness. Because karma is not fate. It is repetition, until you learn. So, here's the truth Jung left us with. The darkest side of sexual attraction is not found in the other person. It is found in you, in your projections, in your wounds, in the stories you keep trying to rewrite. But if you are brave enough to face them, truly face them, then desire is no longer your prison. It becomes your guide, your teacher, your light. So the next time your heart races when you see someone, stop. Ask yourself, is this love or is this my shadow wearing a mask? Because love doesn't always look like fire. Sometimes it looks like stillness. Sometimes it looks like safety. Sometimes it looks like truth. And when you choose from that place, not from desperation, but from wholeness. Love is no longer the battlefield. It becomes the home you've been searching for all along.